Hello, everyone. Welcome to this edition of Viral. I'm your host, as always, Kendra Dix here. Glad you can join us here on Viral. We talk about Shedeur Sanders finally getting picked by the Cleveland Browns, but in the round 5 of the being number 44, 144 in the NFL draft. We're going to talk about men, but first thing first, going in the conversation using the hashtag Viral here on Connect. And don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe is caring. Tell a friend, call a friend, hit that subscribe button so you won't miss a thing here on Viral. We talk about Shedeur Sanders, who was one of the best quarterbacks of the year, and we thought that he was going to be round in the top 10 in the round 1 of the NFL draft.
Hello?
You got that call?
Yeah, what's going on?
Ready to go!
Say it one more time for me.
This is Mickey Loomis here, GM of the Saints.
How you doing?
Good, how are you, man?
Good, been waiting on you.
Ready to go!
Yeah, we have. It's been a long wait, man.
No, for sure.
We're going to take you with our next pick right here, man.
Yeah. Yes, sir, let's be legendary.
But you're going to have to wait a little bit longer, man.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Ready to go!
What does that mean?
What? What did he say?
I don't know.
How you gonna ask us what it mean and you was on the phone?
You heard that?
You said you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Why did he call? What the fuck?
That's fucked
I
up.
don't know what that was. It's 50-50. But nobody got this number though.
It was private.
Did they just troll, bro?
Okay.
Man, he just got trolled, bro. They tripping now, fam. Now I'm getting crashed out, bro.
And then it was this. They said we're gonna tell you what the next pick, but you gotta wait a little bit longer.
Things didn't look so good for Shedeur. We thought he was going to be at least number 3 or number 4 in the top pick. But his buddy Travis Hunter got picked by the Jacksonville Jaguars in the first round, second pick. Shedeur endured a lot. A lot of people are speculating, saying that maybe his dad and him didn't have their attitudes checked out in the door. Some saying that it's just was a form of collusion that the NFL orders got together trying to humble Shedeur and his father, that you can be here today and things will change. But thank God Shedeur finally has a pick. He's been drafted by the Cleveland Browns in round 5 in the NFL draft. But number 44, 144, that just don't seem right when he was playing wild with Travis Hunter. Let's get the backstory on what's going on with Shedeur, his father Dion, and this whole thing that's going on, this whole controversy with the draft. Take a look. Well, Shedeur took it. He was humble about it. You can see right here. Yeah, Shedeur was humble. Shedeur did not see this coming. He thought he was going to be in the first round, top pick, at least 3 or 4. That wasn't the case. Well, Shedeur endured a lot. Here's what Shedeur had to say in his message right here. Shedeur, his message, not getting drafted. You can tell he was disappointed. He was hurt. He thought he was going to be up there with his buddy Travis and things would be okay. They would probably be on different teams playing football. That wasn't the case. So the waiting game started for Shedeur, Deion Sanders, and their brother Shiloh, which I don't get why Shiloh ain't even in the round. You expect Shiloh to get drafted around that pick, but something's going on for real. Well, let's hear what you people had to say. You people had a lot to say about this. This is the hot button topic that we've been talking about. Let's hear what you people have to say on what people say about Shedeur Sanders finally being drafted by Cleveland Browns right here, right now on Viral.
Sitting there, his little brother's big draft party, watching his brother not get picked as the NFL draft goes on and on and on. And as they're watching, Shiloh looks to his left and says, hey, if they doing you like this, imagine what they gonna do to me. Like, ever since your sophomore year at Jackson State, you were told you were a first-round talent. You got to Colorado your junior year, and it was confirmed, like, oh, yeah, the first-round talent is clear. Even Deion was on Twitter or X, and somebody was, like, throwing jabs at Shedeur, and Deion was like, my son's gonna be a top 5 pick. What's your son gonna be? And nobody batted an eye at Deion saying that. Everybody's like, yeah, he is. To not even get drafted in the first round, and your big brother, who we all know is not as talented as you, is sitting there just like, but what about me? If they doing you this dirty, they gonna put me in the dirt. If Shedeur gets drafted in the second round, Shiloh may be an undrafted free agent. That's just the reality. The fact that he said that out loud is hilarious self-awareness. But in all seriousness, Shiloh saying that and bringing a smile and laugh to his brother's face in the midst of, I'm sure, what was I don't want to say embarrassing. It wasn't embarrassing, but just like it probably hurt. That is what brothers are for, and to keep that moment light. But what's also funny is Deion was in the back looking like he was stressed out. I know somebody who didn't find it funny, and that's Daddy Sanders. Shiloh Sanders.
And it ain't because of the color of her skin. Over 70% of the players in the NFL are black, as 30% are white. So it ain't a racism thing. So why do you think that he's not being drafted in the NFL? Well, at least for now. We got day 4 today up in Green Bay, Wisconsin. The NFL is making a statement. The NFL is saying that this is currently not the look that we want. Not that this look hasn't been seen in the past by guys like Baker Mayfield and other erratic players that you cannot believe got into the NFL based on some charges and bullshit and all that other stuff. What I know about this kid is that he's a good kid. He's a showboat. Love his dad. Dad was one of the greatest players I've ever seen come to the NFL. But with that said, it's almost like the NFL is saying that this is somebody maybe that we can't handle, or they will not listen clearly to instructions, maybe on the playing field. I mean, I don't know. All I'm saying is you don't get a kid this talented that is not getting drafted in the NFL. You don't get a kid this talented that is not going to be one of the biggest prospects going into the drafting season, as he was almost, he was a Heisman Trophy prospect. So you got to stop for a second, just cool up for a second, whether you're white, black, or any other race, color, or creed that is going to go play football. Ask yourself for a second, because trying to make, resolve this. Think about it and think, why is this actually happening? I'll tell you what I think. Again, the NFL is looking like they are trying to humble a player, a very talented player, saying even though that you would just be so incredible on the football field, one of the greatest passers that we have seen for a young kid coming out of college, that's not going to be good enough today. You're going to be seen on the national TV, the national scale, in front of families and children, and we're trying to bring in new viewership in here. So there is a play here. It's not just, this is just because it is. It's not just happening because it's just happening. There is a reason why this is happening. Me personally, I think that they just don't like the look of the kid of how maybe how big and grandiose his personality is as what he showed in college. That's what it looks like to me. So I think the kid's going to be okay. I think he's going to be all right. I think the team that picks him is going to get him very inexpensive, very cheap, and good for you because it's like buying a stock that just lost 50% of its value and is absolutely going to shoot up right through the roof. When eventually, 100% for a fact, this kid lands on an NFL team. And that is all I got to say about that. Midnight, I am out. 1, 2, 3.
Let's keep it real, y'all. The NFL wants some of these kids to be halfway broken to enter the league. They want them without a strong father or without a strong family. They want them coming in halfway on their knees to beg them to be their savior. But God, Romans 8:28, for we know all things work together for the good. So I say this, man, keep your head up, Shedeur. You didn't skip hard work, even when you could have. You didn't skip hard work. You're going to succeed even when there's roadblocks put in your path. Because a man who keeps his faith through adversity and believe in him is the son of God and has favor. The NFL and its owners have colluded at this point against you and your family. I ain't want to believe it. I didn't want to believe it. Not my NFL. But here we go again. NFL is back with the BS. They're back with the BS. Man, keep your head up. You know where you should have went. They know where you should have went. And I ain't gonna lie, man, the NFL kind of got me down as a fan because I love football.
Someone pranked Shedeur like he was being drafted. During the second round of the NFL draft, Shedeur's phone rang and he answered it. All of his family runs to him in excitement, trying to see what team is on the phone. And the person on the other line is like making small talk. And then they say, wait a little longer, and hung up the phone. Here's the clip.
How are you, man? Good, been waiting on you.
Ready to go.
Nah, for sure. Why don't you get up and stand right here? Yeah. They say nothing there.
Ready to go.
What does that mean? What? What did he say? I don't know. How you gonna ask us what it means and you was on the phone? You heard that?
You said you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer. Sorry about that.
I don't know what that was. It's 50-50.
First off, that's not funny. Nothing whatsoever is funny about that. Secondly, how did they get that number? That phone was set aside, designated for this draft. How did someone get that number to play on it unless they got it from one of these teams? Thirdly, this has gone from the whole, they're trying to humble Shedeur. No, they're trying to humiliate him. They're trying to humiliate him and his father. For some of the other quarterbacks to have been drafted and for him to still be on the list waiting is kind of wild. Now, what makes it worse is it's taking the attention away from all of these hard-working young men that have been drafted over the last 2 days. Cam is not getting that much attention, and he was the first pick. You know what I'm saying? Travis Hunter is not getting all of this attention. On top of that, they had the young man whose mother passed away like an hour after he was drafted. She lived long enough to see her son drafted. The attention has went away from all of these hardworking young men, and it's now going to the fact that the NFL is playing in Shedeur's face. Let's see tomorrow if he is drafted, and if not, I don't know how this is going to end.
Maybe it's me, but I think it's so lame what they did to Shedeur Sanders. And I'm not talking about Shedeur Sanders not getting drafted because he's going to get to the NFL. He's going to make a lot of money, and I hope he proves a lot of people wrong. But he was prank called last night, and they figured out who it was. Turns out it was an Ole Miss frat guy and a couple of his homies who decided to, I don't know how they got his number, but prank call Shedeur Sanders. And I just think that's lame to me. Shedeur Sanders is going through probably his worst time in his life. And you come up with the idea to, at the lowest point of this man's life, to find his number, hack his number, call his number, and act like you're a GM and say, you got to wait a little bit longer, and record it and put it out on the internet. No matter what you say about Shedeur, he ain't hurt nobody. He ain't done anything illegal, and he's still a human being. I don't know. Maybe everybody thought that shit was funny, but I thought it was lame. I thought it was super lame. Maybe
blameless here. Primetime Deion Sanders is not blameless here. I'm going to say what I have to say, knowing that both of them have their hands at least a little bit dirty in all of this. But if you're the National Football League, clearly it's not about talent anymore. It's about something else. And I'm going to tell you, I spent a large amount of the last 24 hours thinking about nothing more than I was thinking about collusion. Because how in the hell does 32 teams in the National Football League pass on a quarterback that was universally recognized one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the country entering this draft, and 32 teams passed on him? Not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 different times they passed on him. How the hell does that happen? 4 rounds. It doesn't happen to a quarterback. We've never seen anything like this before. We've seen guys drop because of injuries. We've seen guys drop because of off-field issues, but we've never seen a quarterback projected to be a top 20 pick, universally recognized one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the draft, projected to be a first rounder, in all likelihood a safe bet of a late first rounder, and drop literally to the 5th round. We haven't seen anything like that. And when you're talking about the owners, I'm going to keep in mind, and I tweeted about this, seems very Kaepernick-like, as in Colin Kaepernick. Shedeur.
Some of you people express outrage, disappointment in the NFL, in the draft process, like this is some kind of a joke. And really, you do Shedeur Sanders like that, it just speaks volumes on what's going on, what's going down. Hopefully, the NFL will get their stuff together and get their act together, because it's just overweighs the difference. And personally, I feel like Shedeur should have been up there in the 1st round pick, just like his buddy Travis. You would have thought he would have been in New York or New York Giant or something like that. But, hey, there's to here, down there. But thank God Shedeur Sanders has finally been drafted by the Cleveland Browns. Maybe Deion needs to kind of not get less involved. I think he was getting a little involved, but Deion kind of grateful that his son being drafted. Let's see what Shedeur can do in the big leagues, the pros. Thank you all for watching this edition of Viral. I've been your host, Kendrick Dick, saying so long. We'll see you next time for another edition of Viral.